we're all facing the void
mortals.
that is.
Some of us are close.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think, you know what? I think it's just this pandemic mixed with like self-reflection mixed with like mortality, where everyone's like, you know, here's the thing. Like, I'm on Facebook, right? Every time I'm on Facebook, I'll say condolences for a person, and then all of a sudden I'll see like another condolences, another someone dead, and I'm thinking the algorithm is actually showing me dead people or people who have dead like relatives and stuff.
He's figured out an equation to make you kill yourself or something. Like, he's doing it on purpose. Zuckerberg.
Right. I'm like, is everyone dying? What's going on? Why am I saying all these condolences? You know,
God sees dead people.
That's it. Between him and Gates with the vaccine, we're dead in the water.
Well, yeah. Well, now also it's like not only that, it's that 1 year anniversary of the people who died early in the epidemic. You know what I'm saying? You get like, all right, you know. Do you know who Alan Merrill is? He wrote.
Who was that again?
Alan Merrill. He was at a band in the Bronx called Arrow, and he wrote "I Love Rock and Roll" and gave it to Joan Jett. So the part is he was like, he died back in like March 9th of like 2020, like a year ago. Mm-hmm. So you see all these pop-ups come up like 1 year, we miss you, that kind of thing. It's not just like people died immediately, but people had like death under their belt, a good year under their belt, you know, like being dead, you know.
Yeah. I don't know, man, but I mean, like,
get a little time. I got a little dead time there. I got a some good solid dead time underneath me there, you know.
Right.
Reference.
You know the weird.
Lay it all out
the weird thing is.
Yeah, that's it. Lay it all out.
You know the weird thing is too. It seemed like 2020 has become its own like sort of nostalgia. You know, like you said, like where people are looking back and they're sharing all these.
Right. Exactly. And it's become like it's like 9/11, you know, kind of thing. Like, you know how people kind of, let's face it, people exploit 9/11. People have exploited it. Will continue to exploit the whole 9/11 thing. Well, obviously we're getting out now with COVID-19 that people are starting to exploit it. Kind of thing, like, you know, kind of feel like you'll have like you know, only 3 more shopping days left of COVID-19 memorial. You know, like Lincoln's birthday sale, a Veterans Day sale would be COVID-19 day sales. You know.
Speaking of the COVID-19 sale, we want to give a what's up to T-Bomb 718 giving us a what up T-Bomb. How's it going, T-Bomb 718? I don't know who that is, though, but T-Bomb, you're dope. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for engaging. If you guys are watching, please engage wherever you're watching. We have like a home stream, a home live chat, so we could read your comments and engage with you and all that stuff. All right, let me introduce some of our new guests tonight. She was a regular on our old show back, speaking of nostalgia from last year, the IG Live show before we moved to Haps. Stacey Kendro, very funny comedian, one of my favorite people, the Albanian assassin, and also, you know, what's good about Stacey is like she's a true artist. You know, she might seem a little tough. She might seem like a little like Cagney and Lacey, like I'll bust your chops, but she's also a great artist. Like she does these great paintings and stuff, filmmaker as well and stuff. And you know, an all around good hang and a great wag. Tommy Dargan, what's up, Tommy? Tommy being Tommy Amato's boy. What's up, buddy?
That's who T-Bomb is. Tommy Dargan. Maybe if he called himself T-Dog.
Yeah.
Or T-Dard, you know, it would be easier to understand who he was, you know.
Big Mike, let's not get ourselves kicked off of the YouTubes. I know you and YouTube have been very combative, I think. You know,
different like videos dumped off of, you know, like basically deleted from YouTube and Facebook.
Really?
Right. Hey, so let's just. So Stacey, how are you doing, Stacey? We haven't seen you since I haven't seen you since last year, well, literally, but we haven't seen you in show since last.
The last thingy we did, it was the same group here. It was the same foursome.
Right.
And Big Mike,
how are you doing?
Big Mike had the camera set exactly the same way, where you see from his nose up. Which is kind of interesting. It's like
well, that's the better part of me. That's the better half of my face is from my nose to my hairline.
So
Yeah. That's the Big Mike porno POV view. The Big Mike porno view.
rough. I think we should just keep talking about death. Anyway, I've been all right, I guess. I'm up here in Manhattan at the park. I'm gonna say I'm at the Central Park, but I'm just subletting, so that's not forever. But I've been doing a lot of shows. Like I've been traveling a lot because I'm like I can't hold up in the place. It's making me nuts. I got on a plane. I went to Vegas. I went to LA. I went to Florida, and I went to Myrtle Beach. Not in a row, but like just here and there. Like I guess because I just was like I was going crazy being home.
Sure. What was it like?
Well,
How was that?
Correct. The
Huh?
place that reopened earliest, like DeSantis in Florida and the mayor of Las Vegas. That woman opened up the venues again very quickly. I mean, most of those places have been open for a while now. Correct.
Well, I guess so. Myrtle Beach was the first comedy club to open in the country in like May or June,
Right.
which is like that's crazy. So they've almost like
You crazy or not, you went there anyway.
they only closed for like well, I mean, listen, it's sometimes you got to start weighing like what's more important. Like anyway, I can't start getting into the whole coronavirus thing because it's just like nuts. But anyway, that's helped me a lot.
Stacey, I want to ask you, Stacey. Stacey, how was it going? Like traveling all around, like during this time. Like, what was the energy in those spaces? Like those places, were they like cool, or is it normal? Were they all masked up? Like, was there any differences between all these places you went to?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question. I mean, Long Beach, I didn't do comedy. I just went there to chill, and everyone is really masked up, like worse than New York. Nothing is open. You can't sit outside with your coffee. It's like get your coffee and beat it. Like you can't even sit outside. And it's so funny. You're in like the sunny, beautiful climate. You know what I mean? With all these like tropical, and there's nobody around anywhere, but you can't sit with your coffee.
Wow.
Like there's like
Right.
it's so weird. It doesn't make any like it's the coronavirus isn't whatever. It's not like floating around like, oh, you've got Starbucks. I'm gonna come get you now.
Yeah, you can do that.
But
here.
so California was really strict, but like Vegas was like everything was I think 25 or 30% or something. So shows couldn't be full and nobody could be like backstage and people had masks. But what do you call it? Florida, I did do a show in Florida. Yeah, Florida people don't give a fuck. Can I say that?
Right. Well, that's why they're all dying down there. They have rates as bad as New York or LA.
I guess they
Do
that
wait, hold on. The news decided that recently. Florida was fine until all of a sudden now, Florida has bad numbers. Okay, I don't believe it. But what was my other thing? Oh, and Myrtle Beach was pretty like people had masks and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Bob, you were saying something, Bob?
No, well, just to add on, like last summer, Montreal was completely opened up, and they did improv, and it was too late for it. I was going to do my show here. It didn't work out because they closed down at a certain point. But it was like people would. It was 30 people in the audience, like 2 at a table, spread out. People up the front would like do the show. It was like a 2-hour show, and they did that like every Monday night, and that was it. Then they shut down October, and basically since then, there's been no indoor dining. Certain things have opened up, but for that period of time, it was kind of like what you're talking about, Stacey.
Were they wearing masks?
You wear a mask if you go into, say, a bookstore, you go into a store, but in and in those places they did wear masks. Some people didn't. For the most part, people were masked up. Yeah.
Did they wear any clothes besides masks?
That's more your department, Mike. I don't,
Yeah.
I
Big Mike, Department of Nudity.
Masks and nothing else.
Yeah, no, it was in French. I'll say that, but I don't know if that translates into some of the
That's
things you're talking about.
the
Actually,
beaches.
Big Mike, I have a question for you, Big Mike.
Huh?
Big Mike, I have a question for you. So Big Mike is a performer. He's a very extroverted guy. He always gets into you can't. In the before times, Big Mike would be the type of guy that would get naked for any reason in public, for any
What?
situation.
Did we need to know this?
Me. Only had naked women with me. Remember?
No, I'm framing the story. I'm framing it for the question. So, Big Mike, have you had any situation like this during this pandemic time where you had like a wild night, like a classic wild night, where you're just like, oh, I'm getting naked with women, and has it just been
closest thing to it? You remember Mo Kelly, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
funny, talented.
Did me?
Oh no.
Oh, Big Mike.
No.
Oh
God.
no!
I guess this is our commercial break, guys.
Yeah.
Come
Mike-
back
Mike
in
will be
like a
back.
minute. Big Mike.
Right when we were gonna get like the bad story.
Yeah. No. It was, yeah, I should. No, he'll be back. But that's interesting.
I
It's
need
just,
some wine. I need
Yeah.
my wine.
oh, that's cool. Little bit of wine. I should have gotten some. You can get wine like in the grocery stores here. I mean, it's one thing here.
Yeah.
People line up for wine.
You had to find. Speaking of which, the funny thing is, I stopped drinking before, like a year or two before the pandemic, just to focus on myself and my comedy and my health and all that stuff and all that. But how is it like drinking during the pandemic? Is it fun, or has it just been? I just feel like it's probably depressing, just like drinking by yourself. And then even if you drink with others, it's going to be like a small group of like 2 or 3 people. I just find that kind of, to me, when I was drinking, I was a social drinker. I just can't see myself drinking like in a room, like Nazi style, like Nazi bunker style. Okay, it's over.
well, coming from somebody who basically drinks by himself all the time, I always think it's a lot of fun. Quite frank. I mean,
Bob, now we're back. Yeah, let's see if we'll get there.
We'll go back to Bob Bell. We'll go back to your drinking story after the Big Mike thing.
Yeah. Okay,
Back
Mike.
now.
Big Mike.
Yeah. So, Mike, what's your Mo Kelly story?
Maurice came over to my place. Well, actually, my ex-wife's place that I'm squatting at, and he did a video that was put on Brooklyn Cable Access Television. It's like Spectrum or Time Warner Cable, but it's for Brooklyn. Yeah, it's like 2 million subscribers. He has this show called On the Wire. So we did like some back and forth, like poetry and performances like that. And as part of it, she was like running around briefly naked in the apartment while me and Maurice took her picture.
Someone's always naked in your stories. Someone's always naked in your stories, which is kind of weird.
Now, none of that got on the video. None of it got on Brooklyn, television, because that cable television would have been cut off. But the point is,
good thing.
it was just in the privacy of my own place. Well, my ex's place, me, her, and
running
like, there was nudity involved. There was one. I can actually, and not only that, but when I did live shows at Viviana's, you remember?
Sure.
Viviana?
Yeah. I've done them. Yeah.
There was nude stuff I did with Simone. She got naked for part. So
who's Simone?
That was my
live show.
Oh, who's Simone? Describe Simone to Stacy, Mike.
Well, she's like really well. I met her when she was 17. Now it's like 20 years later. She's in her late 30s, but she's like just imagine the hottest little girl you've ever met in your life. Like she looks like Betty Boop. Imagine a naked Betty Boop.
That's
oh my God.
weird.
Big Mike, you're treading.
I have a very different idea of who Simone is. I mean, she's attractive, but her whole thing was she did stuff that was so outrageous it would just freak me out every time I'd see it.
Right, exactly, right.
Hey,
By
the way, Big Mike, you're treading Matt Geitz territory by saying, "Oh, she was 17, but she's 37." Oh, so
well, she never performed with me naked until she got to be 20. I made sure of that. That is, I made sure that I had the law on my side. I met her. We really we didn't do anything professionally together until she was 20.
Would you call Roger Stone directly and say, "Roger, how am I going to deal with this?" God.
Yeah, right. That's
so.
Matt
Gates. Are you performing burlesque, or why are you naked?
It's burlesque like performances. One was we did a recreation of Gwen Vernon. If you ever saw that Vernon Fosse television FX.
Yes, I know who Gwen
Remember
Vernon
the scene where he drags her out of the dressing room in the middle of the show and she's got nothing on but a towel? We did like that, things like that. That'd be the closest thing to it. She'd come out and like when it come out, like she would get into like one of those what they call them, what the hell they call them, They're like I think they're called Kenzo suits. They're like form-fitting cat suits, but you couldn't see her face. She would come. She would go backstage, come out in a kimono, and like she would like drop the kimono, that kind of thing. Because remember, you can't see her because she's all covered up with a cat suit. Because so it's like you couldn't see who she was. But in the end, she'd come out like a kimono or in a towel. She'd drop the towel or drop the kimono. She'd be naked, kind of thing. And then she'd run off stage.
By the way, guys. By the way, you guys can join Big Mike's OnlyFans page, his OnlyFans, and then you can see all the uncensored content of Big Mike having, dancing with naked ladies.
So yes, I did burlesque nudity during the COVID-19 shutdown. I could actually say during the lockdown, I did burlesque.
Why didn't you ever have like a poetic version of Midnight Blue? You could have like a poet's version.
Well, did anybody catch this?
That was like
this last week's New York Times. It was in the Metropolitan section. It was all the burlesque performers who had performed since the pandemic, and they were all like out of Coney Island at the Freak Show. And one of them, Joe Boobs Weldon. She's known as Joe Boobs. Her name is Joe. I performed with her once before, where I was she was doing their burlesque thing. But she taught me in front of an audience how to twirl. You know those tassels you put on your nipples, the pasties with the tassels on it. So I learned how to spin them on my nipples. That was on YouTube.
I got a pair of them on my.
That was on YouTube, and YouTube took it down because as soon as it was with
surprise.
Because I was because I was jumping around with like man boobs. And my man nipples showing and like twirling tassels with pasties with tassels on it. And she said, how you do it one way and then you do it another and you do one breast and another breast.
And
looks like YouTube.
YouTube's on. I don't know. It looks like Hap's Big Mike will be no more.
Well, he did say he was on his phone on a Samsung, so
I think that he's had these problems before, but
I think that's part of Big Mike's phone plan. He gets timeouts every like 5 minutes just for
Well, I didn't really want to hear the rest of the story.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Say That to My Face. He's back here. He's saying, yo, what's up, Say That? We got to get you on Hap so we can interview you in the future. Also, T-Bomb saying, drinking by yourself, it's fun. And he's saying, easy, Cuomo. I guess he's saying that to Cuomo for censoring Big Mike. And also, it's an Italian thing. So there you go. I know he was Italian. Stacey, you're part Italian. No, you're not part Italian, right? Stacey?
Oh, you're asking me? No, I'm Albanian.
Oh, you're full Albanian.
I'm half Albanian, but it's enough. Trust me.
Well, there are a lot like Albanian, like most pizza places in New York claim their Italian pizza are actually run by Albanians. And there's like,
I heard about that.
Yeah, Italy conquered Albania in the 1930s, so they were actually like a colony of Italy in the 1920s.
There was a big bunch, like a big immigration. I think a lot of people from Albania came to Italy in like the 1820s.
Right. There's a lot across the Adriatic Sea. There's a lot of Italians claiming they're Albanians. A lot of Albanians go around claiming they're Italians. So.
Well, there's a lot of Albanians who went to a part of Italy, and they're Italian-speaking Albanians, and they're called Albaresh, and apparently Robert De Niro is one of them.
All right.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
wasn't like Alexander the Great, like it's like part of Macedonia, right? Wasn't like Alexander the Great technically Albanian?
I think he was. My grandmother would tell you that he was.
Right next to it. It's right next to Albania.
I mean, some of my relatives. I mean, one of my brother's sons like looked into it, and actually that might apply to myself too. There might be some Albanian heritage too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Bell might have some Albanian, but see, you're so political, and you don't want to murder people like me, so you might only have like a touch.
Yeah.
Bob Bell's the type of Italian that was like, descended from like Roman senators. Like he'd be the good senator who's like into like, socialism and that they would kill. You know, like who's the Big Mike? Who's the brothers? Those the Fabio brothers, like in ancient Italy, that were killed for being like progressive.
Romulus and Remus. One was the progressive, the other was a reactionary.
I thought they were from Star Trek. God.
No, later the brothers. You know what I'm talking about? Jesus Christ, Big Mike. You know what I'm talking about? That's Big Mike. You're a savant. You know this, right? The Italian brothers. The Italian they were like political. This was like during around the Augustus time. Something F.
The Mario Brothers?
Or V. The Mario Brothers? No.
There.
It could be. I could see that though.
Oh
I mean, like applying it to me, just like having a coffee and it's like, well, wait, what's all this going on? Blah, 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 blah. That'd be it. You know?
One of those things they tear you apart like beasts tear you apart limb from limb. Hungry Lion, things like that.
Todd's looking it up. He can't take it.
Yeah, the Gracchi brothers. Excuse me, the Gracchi brothers.
Oh, Gracchi, yes, the Gracchi brothers. Yes. Gracchi, Gracchi. Yeah.
Yeah, can you give us like a little bit what the Gracchi brothers were? Big Mike,
They were reformers, and of course, what happens is they get killed. There's all reformers. It happens to anybody that decides to reform a society winds up getting killed. Anybody who decides to make the society more reactionary becomes president or senator or emperor.
Yeah,
the conservative reactionary forces.
Führer.
All right, exactly. Or Führer. All right. Anybody who's reactionary gets ahead in the world. Anybody who's progressive always gets killed. That's pretty much one of those basics in political life.
Reactionaries also end up getting it too, but sometimes this maybe takes longer. I don't know.
Have you seen
Well,
this?
Bob, what'd you say?
Is it? I did. You know, I just said the reactionary ones. Sometimes they get it too, but it takes longer. That's all.
Right, it takes longer.
Yeah.
Have you
After they
seen this?
win.
There's a show.
Yeah, what happens?
There's a show where like the premise is if we lost World War II and like 3/4 of the United States were occupied by Germans and they were still killing Jews, and then the other third is occupied by the Japanese. Have you seen this stupid shit? I'm like, why would you want to watch that? The world is already so depressing.
Yeah.
I know.
Why don't you just put a gun to your head? Why would you? I don't get it.
It is horrifying because in certain ways, what I could have seen is actually all of Europe just being, dominated by the Nazi state, and then who knows? There was a lot of forces in the U.S. at that point that would have tried to make an alliance with them. That's what I could have seen happening more so than us getting taken over by Germany. It would have, and probably the evil forces here would have gotten even more evil. So that would have been my version of that television show. But
now
you get more evil, Bob.
Philip Roth had a book.
It's sort of like, what's that?
Well, let's Stacey.
Philip Roth had a book that was made into
Stacey,
an HBO movie with Zoe Kazan in it, and it was what would happen if Lindbergh and the German American Bund had taken over in like 1936 instead of Roosevelt running and winning a second term. It's just like they deport the Jews to Canada.
Right. There is
and
aspects
the Bob Bell bill. Right. Also known as the Bob Bell bill.
Stacey, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that in a way, that show is like an overt, version. Like, if the Germans were literally on our soil, but I feel like in a way, I don't know. I was going to go pretty dark. It's like things are just not really going.
Well, dark. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, there's like swastikas on a lot of like the public works buildings and stuff. It's like
all over New York City, swastikas are part of the. In fact, if you look carefully, whenever they have the chamber, I think it's the Senate chamber, where they have the State of the Union address and the joint sessions. If you look in the background, it's a fascist symbol in the background. It has the axe and the sticks. It's fascism. That's in the the United States Senate.
Yeah,
it was admired.
It
was highly admired.
I think there's like a book about all like the public works, like all the infrastructure is all kind of like German engineers, and so in a way, even though they lost the war, they're sort of they're more infiltrated in our society than we know. That's what I kind of
Well,
want to say.
One of the things to remember is that, especially in the 1920s, there was the eugenics movement where the Germans kind of took our eugenics movement and made their like whole race system based on that. And what was crazy is that they thought we went too far. They thought, the Americans, they're real go-getters. We're going to only go to 3 generations back. They're going back like, one drop, that's it. Wait, we give it, give me for effort. But that's how crazy it is.
Oh, there's a coffee
So
table.
spot on. So Stacey, you're spot on. I'm saying.
There's a coffee
By the
table.
way, I just want to read some of the comments here. We got
Oh.
Don't you watch Coming to America?
Big Mike. Yeah, I just want to read the comments quick for a second. So, we have say says the Nazis are back. Also, T-Bomb says, you guys missed Lincoln in reality. And of course, Say That says, did you watch Coming to America, which is the sequel to Coming to America? Bob, did you watch Coming to America
Yeah,
too?
I saw it in the movie. No, I saw the first one in the movie thing. So.
Oh, wait, Bob. Wow, Bob going to the movie theaters to watch a movie.
Again, it was,
what was the context?
Remember, as a different life, it was 1987. So.
That's true.
What was the context? Were you going on a date or something?
No,
Just
I was with I went with Mike Haldeman.
Really?
Yeah. He happened to be in New York at the time when we went to see
He's
it.
the pediatric gynecologist.
Who's Mike Haldeman?
In Houston, right? Is he in Houston?
No, Dallas. He's a
in
practicing
Dallas, okay.
pediatric gynecologist down in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was.
It sounds like a Big Mike joke, but it's not. It's actually, Big Mike knows all the gynecologists out there. He went to gynecologist school before he got dropped out, before he got kicked out.
I got
Before he got
2 years
kicked out and became a nudist burlesque comedian.
Yeah. I spent 2 years
So,
on
Bob,
the
what was your?
BGYN floor at St. Luke's Women's
Oh,
Hospital.
right. I forgot about that. That's good.
Oh yeah. So, Bob, so basically, you went to watch the movie and that's it, or was there any crazy, quirky Bob Bell, situation that occurred? Because I know there's always something crazy that happens
I
around.
think I you know what? Something crazy did happen. I remember getting in for free somehow. We walked in in this weird way, and I didn't have to pay. Or maybe I just I just remember getting in a way, and then Mike looked at me. It's like, yeah, you got in for free, and it's like, how did that happen? I don't know. That's funny you said that, because that probably is one of the few times that has ever happened.
Well, Bob, you know what happened? You know the reason that happened, right, Bob? Because of Kismet. That happened to you, so you could talk about that story right now.
Right.
Wow.
almost 40 years later. Something to talk about 40 years later.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about.
Wouldn't it be horrible if that was like something like that was like a setup, so you could just talk about it now, like a punchline, like a delayed 40-year punchline?
I tend to think that's related to my birth. Sometimes.
Well, that's like 12 Monkeys. That's the premise of 12 Monkeys. Guy comes back and witnesses his own murder.
What do you mean? Oh.
That was the movie 12 Monkeys. The guy actually witnesses his own murder when he's a kid. He doesn't realize it. He's at an airport and he sees somebody get killed, shot by the police, and he realizes 40 years later that was him getting shot 40 years later.
Mm.
One of those looping time travel things, the time looping back.
I love that. I don't remember that about that movie.
Yeah, thanks for the spoiler alert, Big Mike. Thanks for the spoiler alert from a movie 20 years ago.
Thanks for the time travel spoiler alert.
Who was quite
well. Go back in time and change the ending.
Yeah, now I got to go back in time to erase that so that doesn't spoil. Yeah. That would be a funny, lame time travel.
That was the kid.
You spoiled it for me. Now I got to go back to
kid caught in a well. That was him. He was the kid caught in the well. Only he wasn't caught in the well. He was only faking that he was caught in the well.
This sounds like some Twilight Zone that I saw.
Yeah, it was like that. Right.
Yeah. It's
in fact, it was
before the pandemic.
From the 1960s called Jeté, which means jump. He was jumping into the future. He kept jumping.
Yeah. Mike,
Bob, you were saying
throwing the
Bob?
French out. Mike's throwing the French out. There you go.
Bob, you were saying something?
Before the pandemic, I saw a whole bunch of movies down on 8th Street. I saw Manchurian Candidate. I'd never seen it In
The original or the remake?
The
I
original.
saw the original.
Oh, the original was a good one. Right.
Yeah.
Is that the one you
Watch it,
saw?
right.
Bob
Yeah, that's
Bell?
the one. I saw it. It was down on what was it like?
Frank
West
Sinatra.
Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra.
With Sinatra,
Yeah.
right. No, that was good. That
And Angela
scene,
Lansbury. I
yeah,
think
Angela
Lansbury was
Angela,
like
Yeah.
that scene when they're like, you know, the guy sees like all the people dressed up and his mother and all his like,
Right.
you know, it's brilliant.
But it's all
a brilliant.
it's
scene.
like he's under hypnosis.
Yeah.
And the story was, I went back and read the book to see if I could get some insights. And the guy who was the Chinese communist brainwasher, the actor was Akim Tamirov. And in the book, he convinced, like he brainwashes, Raymond into being his boyfriend. That is, there's a sexual relationship between Raymond and his interrogator.
Why did I know that you were to come out with that angle, Mike? I don't know why. That
By the way,
didn't come out in the
Stacey,
movie. But it's,
I kept telling everybody he was a male virgin. That is, he wouldn't go to prostitutes in Korea. But the point is, in reality, this guy gave him a suggestion that, and strange enough, he was the Akim Tamirov, this bald-headed, mustached Chinese interrogator brainwasher, was the bottom, and Lawrence Harvey was the top. The kind of thing.
This doesn't sound like Cold War to me.
Like this fat old bald Chinese guy was his bottom, was his girlfriend. They
I don't know.
was the top.
I'm gonna have to consult with Show and Live for this one.
No, it looked like Mao. Imagine if Mao was your bottom bitch. That kind of thing.
I knew it was going this way.
By the way, Stacy is commenting, but she's only commenting in chat. So yeah, you're only we can see it. So it says, I feel like writing a message, not sure where it goes. And then she writes,
everybody.
He could be we're not going to post that, Stacy. We're not trying to get banned. We're not trying to get canceled. So we're not going to resend that.
Well, sorry. So if I make a comment, you can add it. If I don't say like faggot or something on it, is that right?
Right. Well, fag. It could be a cigarette. That's what they call a cigarette in England. A fag. Got a fag for me to suck on?
It's just like a guy. Yeah. I know.
Oh boy. We're gonna get canceled, guys. We're gonna be smoked out. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. Anyway,
hey, would that be the first time for me, Todd? You know how many times I've been canceled or I've been banned from places? Wait,
that's just Todd, you disappeared for a second there. Oh.
Yeah. I think that's the running joke. I think apes kicks you out every 5 minutes just to reboot you.
Right. I got out after 15 minutes. I think that after 15 you get thrown off and you have to get back on again.
So you're gonna go in a couple of minutes then.
I'm on borrowed time, that kind of thing. I'm already on borrowed time.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of which, let's pivot to so it looks like New York's going to open. I think starting tomorrow, comedy clubs are opening up in New York. Things are opening up. Oh, I was talking to Bob Bell before the show. There's a thing called the Excelsior Pass, where basically Cuomo, New York's offering.
The domestic thing where you basically, to get into Madison Square Garden or whatever, some of these places
but you have to have a vaccination card, proof of vaccination, or proof of a negative, a recent negative COVID-19 test. Either way is okay. It's acceptable.
Now, Mike, do you think, and Stacey, both of you, do you think people? How many people are you think going to go by this? I don't think a lot of places are going to. The big venues, yes, but I talked to some restaurants, and it sounds like New York. They're not even gonna maybe some exclusive ones.
I think people are basically, even though they say the numbers are going up with the infection, they're going to continue to open because I think everybody had it after a year. That was a year is about as much as anybody.
Well, there's that aspect to it too, right? I think people in terms of business, they're gonna keep it open anyway, and then just hope after enough. That was the
story. Dr. Zhivago, he says the Russians, they held the line, a 900-mile line in World War I. They held it through 2 winters, and he didn't think it was going to last that long. The voice of Alec Guinness as the secret police chief. He didn't think, but I said after a while, they said they lasted. He had to give it to him that they lasted 2 years. But after 2 years, they all went home. They said what every army does. They just went home. The same thing. Like
Mhm.
instead of going home, they just all went out. Like they all went out to the bar. They all went out to the nightclub. After a year, it was about as much as anybody could take.
Right.
By
Yeah,
the
but
way,
people
T-Bomb
in New
says,
York
I'm
are
trying to
really sorry.
Go ahead, Stacey.
I just think people
Go
in
ahead,
New
go
York
ahead,
are really upset, and they really want you to wear a mask, and like it's just so upset about So,
Okay.
so I don't see it lifting soon.
But do you think they'll
Yeah. By the way-
that Excelsior pass? Do you think like restaurants, places will use it? I think
I
the
don't-
mask
I don't
thing will hold up, but I don't think the pass is gonna
Yeah.
I don't think places are gonna let you kick you out if you don't have this pass. That's what
Oh, that's the question.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Madison Square Garden, that's one thing, but if like you go to a restaurant, it doesn't seem to me like
Do
you have to wear the mask.
you have to pay for the pass?
No, you get it if
Bob,
you
do you have to pay for the pass?
if you get vaccinated, you get it. It's all like people are going to try to forge them, and there's going to be all types of things going on to getting around it. That's the other thing. What happens if you get vaccinated with the Russian vaccination? Is that good enough?
Right. Exactly.
That there's all these
AstraZeneca.
questions. Right.
Right.
By the way, T-Bomb says, been positive here and was sick for 2 weeks. Half vax too. So I think he's half vaccinated and he got sick apparently.
Yeah.
It
some
threw
people-
Mike
He got
off.
it.
It threw Mike right off. So
Yeah.
T-Bomb is Dargan, right? So I tried to send a message like, when are you trying to get Zay to go down the Cape? Anyway, because I'm gonna be in Mass in June to do like a one act play, like a festival of one act plays, and it's sort
that's
of near
great,
the
man.
Cape.
Mhm.
So
That's good.
anyway,
Yeah, they can't read your comments because the comments are in room. So, but you could you could verbally answer their comments.
right?
Because only we could see your comments in room.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah.
Is that
So,
like a
looking
yeah,
one,
man.
I was
is that
looking
like a
for
one-man
setting.
show?
No, it's
Come again?
it's a festival of one acts.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm excited to do it. So this guy who puts these together, he always picks like amazing material. I don't know where he gets it from. Like some of them are 100-year-old plays. They're all about 10, 15 minutes. So it's like all one acts. So it's like it's fun. It's not the big commitment of a whole play, but we're gonna put it on outside, and it's gonna be 5 one acts. And he does it every year. He's been doing it for years. Anyway, so I'm excited. I'm really
That sounds
Psyched to do
great.
it.
Where are they going to present it?
Stacey, I have a question though. So, have you been doing rehearsals? How are you doing rehearsals, via Zoom or in person?
Well, the show isn't until June, so we just did a read through last night by Zoom, and the one they did last year was still the pandemic. I wasn't in it, but I opened the show. I'm friends with the theater people, so I did stand up in front of all the one acts, which worked really well because it was like all these cute little old ladies, and they were sitting outside in the grass. They all brought their little lawn
In
chairs, but
Central
they
Park
loved it.
or where was it? Central Park?
No, this
Awesome,
is
awesome.
in Massachusetts.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was in a park, and it was right next to a stream. It was very lovely, and it was like this weird brick building, like it's like half falling apart brick thing that it ended up being like we were going backstage, like it was like our little stage thing. It was really cute, but I forget what I was.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh well, just that
Oh,
people,
wow.
wore like their masks and stuff, and people were socially distanced. There were a lot of older people. They were like, afraid to do anything, but they all sat. People felt safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the way it was for the improv in Montreal. The same sort of thing.
Well, the same way with
Hey,
Vivian.
I have a question for the people in the room, all right, and also people in the audience. So, what was the big since things are opening up? What's the big take from you had for the past year? What's the big lesson that you've maybe developed or learned, or some type of self-reflection or something? What's the big thing you got out of this whole caca situation that was the pandemic?
Well, one thing you get
Bob,
is that
wanna start?
it's just once every 100 years, or so you hope. That it's once every 100 years you have to put up with this, and we just
Bob, can you
happen
hear
to
me?
fall an accident into that 100-year.
Oh, Big Mike's
knot.
talking and I can't hear him. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh boy.
Yeah, Mike's talking. Go ahead.
So it's like it only comes
Oh, what
once
did he say?
once
I'm gonna have to
once every 100 years.
I'm gonna
Just
have to take
happens-
Big Mike out and bring him back in because I can't hear.
He's
him.
just talking anyway.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Mike's is saying it's like a once in 100-year thing, and that
Oh, you can hear me. Bob can hear me.
I can hear you, Mike, but Todd can't hear you.
It's like a once every 100.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I could. Big Mike, I want to take
Bring
you out.
and then,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah. Let's see if we could bring him back. Yeah. All right. So, all right. Let me just uninvite and bring him back in. Sorry, Big Mike. But we'll bring you back in. Yeah. Hello. 1 2 1 2. Well. Okay. So he's out, and now we're gonna bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring back Big Mike. Ugh. You guys want to do the Jeopardy song? Da, 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 da. So Bob,
Well, I mine was.
yeah, Bob, tell me what do you think?
I mean, look, I had like a very, I think probably different experience than a lot of people. You know, I mean, I always, wanted to live in Canada for a period of time. It's not like forever, and I got to live here for a year. If I go back, I mean, if I go back, I don't know how long I'll be in the States, but things will have to open up here to get back here. But so it was, it just, I kind of, a lot of crazy things happened with me. And so, yeah, I don't know. Would I have done anything different? I don't know. Those 3 days after I made those decisions, I was going like, from one like decision to another. I was just trying to figure out what to do. So, if I went through it again, I might have ended up in New Zealand. Who the hell knows?
So this was like your first time you've lived in like Canada, right?
Yeah, for that, for this period of time, yeah. And I mean, I got to know just like really Quebec. I mean, Quebec's kind of a little bit different than the rest. I've been in other parts of Canada, but Quebec's different. It has like this big, French influence, and I got to know people. The one thing that I was really happy about is I got to see somebody here who I thought I'd never see again, who was from New York. She sold Christmas trees on First Avenue, and I ran into her here. So I saw her, I saw her brothers. Yeah, I was just lucky. I ran into her on St. Catherine Street, and I got to, got to know her and her family, and I feel kind of blessed for it. So.
That's nice. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we have some comments before we ask Stacy. So, by the way, sorry, I'm being very funny
I can't
tonight.
see the comments now. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Yeah. So, T-Bomb says it's been sounds good. After going through a living hell, I'm learning not to beg God for more time.
Hear me, Todd?
Let's say that to my face. Don't beg. Kick ass until it's time to die. And then T-Bomb says, "Bring me in." That's what I. And then say that says that's what I learned. So yeah. Wait,
You can hear me, Todd?
Big Mike, can you give me a 1 2 1 2? Yeah,
1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
He can hear
me?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's gone.
Exactly.
Now he's back.
It only comes by when we don't have to worry about this until the year, 21. We're good for another 100 years. That kind of thing. We got it over with now.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's like one of these once in a millennium?
Once every 100 years, we got it over with. Remember, there's some people who didn't get the opportunity to be in on this COVID-19 thing, and some people who died before this COVID-19 lockdown weren't able to participate, and people born afterward will not participate. But we got the opportunity to.
I think Big Mike COVID-19 has shut Big Mike down. I think that's what's going on. So yeah, Stacey, how about you? What did you learn the past year? Like, what was your big take from all this? This big the big break, the big take a break, if you will.
So T-Bomb says whatever. I think he really wants you to bring him on. But see, once Big Mike comes back on, Donegan, where'd that come from? I'm tired.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to get a word in. Anyway, I think that for some of us like us extroverts, it's really hard to work from home and just be sort of home and not like around. Like before the pandemic, I would do a lot of stuff. I would do shows. I worked a lot, and I think I learned that someone else said this to me that like once all that stuff that is your life is like gone and everything's like put to a halt, you have to actually like deal with your own inner stuff. and like nobody wants to do that.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
So-
a great point. Yeah, sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you
By
hear
the
me?
way, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah. The other thing you learn, there's always
Good.
somewhere you can perform, whether it's live or it's, there's always somewhere you can perform. There's always somewhere to go. You can never be
like
told
it's out of
you can never be
context.
totally caught you're performing. That's never going to happen. I think that's one thing that I think all at least we four here have learned that there's always some media outlet where you can get up in front of people, whether virtually or in reality, and just like get yourself heard, spew your guts.
Actually, the funny thing is, Big Mike, to piggyback from what you said, because by the way, because we have comments now too from like Sadat, who says like, we have 20 years until the Chicanas come back. Didn't you see Jeepers Creepers?
Right, exactly, right.
Everyone's like a performer now. Like even people commenting and stuff. Clubhouse, like Instagram
Right,
Live, just like everyone's like a performer or being performative. Like you have a character, you have a persona. Remember we had like a guy, what's his name? The guy that used to be our IG Live regular, who's like kind of like a Republican guy. What's his name again?
Iceberg.
yeah.
First name was
No, not Iceberg. Bob, what was his guy's? Global Freeze.
Global Freeze,
Remember
right.
Global
Yeah, Global Freeze is like a guy now.
Iceberg guy. Yeah, that right. I see him on Instagram sometimes. He's got a bald head.
What? No, you actually seen Global Freeze?
Yeah.
What? He
Yeah.
revealed himself? What? Wait, say that. Has
Yeah,
Global
he
Freeze-
did it, but on his own. Like it was
I
on
don't
his
believe
own
that.
Instagram channel. He's got glasses and a bald head. He looks like one of those like Williamsburg hipster types, that kind of thing.
What?
Oh man,
Black glasses
That's
and a
funny.
bald head.
I
He's
remember seeing him. He
revealed
looked
himself.
different than that, but who knows? Maybe different look. Maybe that's the new look. Global
Maybe he's
Freeze
part of
look.
the alt right. Maybe he's like the new member of the alt right, like the new alt right.
right.
Maybe
Oh,
say
right.
that to my face. Say that to my face. Say that to my face. Ask him if he's bald. He's got big black glasses.
Oh my
I'm gonna look
goodness!
right
I didn't
now.
know. Yeah, I thought he kind of quit. I
Look what he said.
heard he like.
It says it was say that to my face. It was after all. Maybe I didn't see Global Freeze. I saw him say that to my face. You're kind of like got a fat face, right? Kind of a fat.
No.
Well, he
Like,
doesn't
his
post
face?
pictures
Hey, Big
of
Mike.
himself on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, Big Mike, I like you to say that. I like you to say that shit to his face right now. To say that to my face. He's got a big face and a fat face. Say that to his face, Big
Yeah,
Mike.
big fat, featureless face, that kind of thing.
Featureless.
Yeah. No, but like I heard he's like not really doing that anymore. I don't think he's on IG Live because I think he like kind of burned bridges with some people on other IG Lives. I'm not sure. Say
I
that
think
if
he
you want to
did
tell
some-
us like any intel.
I am. Yeah, tell us any intel. I mean, on his profile,
He's defending.
Global
that.
Global Freeze is live right now on Instagram.
Okay.
Can I put it on?
Oh, definitely. Put it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
State,
beam him
definitely
in.
put it on.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Let's see
Probably,
what's
yeah,
going
it's
on.
gonna be- I'm sure it's going to be Roger Stone and other Republican.
Guy
operatives.
Enrique Torres from the Proud Boys.
He waved at me.
Go global.
Let me see if I can play his. Let me see if I can play his show on. I don't know if I could. I don't know if. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
See?
it's like
Isn't that
picture of
great,
the Earth.
Yeah. Isn't this great, guys, that we could just like basically like have like this type of shows where it's like, oh, let's go see what's going on
Right,
with
we could
global
lead
and
it. Lead into another reality. It's like the multiverses can easily communicate between each other. Okay, that's like, hey, there's the Spider-Man from the other world. Hey, hello, I'm the Spider-Man from the other multiverse. That kind of thing. It's great.
He was banned by Danny
Right,
Cohen.
let me just play this.
And nothing's I don't hear any sound.
I think so. I think I don't have any sound either. I think it's just like him in like a spacesuit. Just like a weird spacesuit
A
thing going on.
spacesuit.
Perfect.
And
That's
the
it.
Earth.
I mean, he waved at me, but that's
He's
yeah. So I don't know. By the way, Tommy Dargan, we put you on to, but unfortunately, like you have to join HAPS. We could only bring in people from HAPS to be here. So if you
Oh,
could
here
sign
goes.
up, so maybe
Here
next
goes.
time.
I don't promote it, so you don't really know what's going on. But Anyway, I like your content, New York City, Brad. I'm just telling you, pretty funny.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think that cover a lot of interesting topics in there.
Actually, let me see. You want me to go on Global Freeze's show?
Funny.
Like, try to, like, maybe make it even super meta.
Can you do that?
Can you do that
Can you
super
crash
meta?
the show?
Oh no, let's see. Oh boy, this is ridiculous. All right, let's
So
see
I'll
if we
shut
could.
mine off so
If
there's
it,
not two sound things, right?
yeah. Let me see if I could get like a request. Okay, I'll send a request. This
That
is so
is funny.
ridiculous. All right.
Okay, Bob Bell, no yawning.
I know.
Well, we're
It's
professionals.
my
here, Bob.
bedtime. No, I gotta go to bed soon. I get up at 6:30
Yeah,
and
let's
then
see
I
if-
get my Susun Palm.
Yeah. So if you just tuned in, guys, we were streaming on Haps on Twitch, and we're on standby.
I'm adding a couple people here.
Hello.
If someone wants to come in, just ask me.
Hey, yeah. Can you hear me?
I will bring you in
Is that him?
briefly.
Yeah. Can you hear him?
Is that
New York
him?
City, Brad.
Yeah. I don't
What's
think.
up, man? What's up, say that?
Hello.
We're talking shit about you right now on Todd Twitch. That's up to him. If he wants to come on Instagram, I'll come. And I invited him in, but I'm not going on Twitch. I'm not going to pay to go on Twitch.
already got that.
I can see Twitch. I have like both windows open, and they're. I guess they're in the chat too, so it's fucking cool. I don't know because I don't do the. Hold on, let me. Hey, New York City Brett, you need the latest version of Instagram. I can't add you. So upgrade your Instagram. Go to your app.
I think he's too big time for us, guys.
CCD
I don't know.
2040.
So why did you get banned by
Your
Danny?
whole format.
Yeah.
Why did Danny Cohen ban you?
Yeah. So guys, basically he can't hear us. He's talking to Say That. So Say That Shit in My Face is basically our online. He's our Instagram
Like our
reporter.
interpreter. He's our interpreter. He's our media, a medium,
medium?
like our psychic, whatever. We can use him to channel. We can channel through him.
Yeah. He's basically our in Instagram live correspondent. That's what we got now, guys. We have an Instagram live correspondent. All right, I think that might be enough, though. But Say That is talking to him. I think he's bringing it up that we're making fun of him.
I'm ready 24/7. All right, trust me.
Yeah, he's big time now. He's got like a spaceship guy, floating thing. It's like
got an
Karate
entourage.
Kid Part. Yeah. It's like the Karate Kid. We're based Mr. Miyagi, and this guy's the hero. He's both, Ray Macchio, Ralph Macchio, and a blonde guy. And then we lost Big Mike. Great. Kid Icarus too close to the sun, guys. Right? Too close to the sun.
So Global Freeze, just like people who are picking up on it, that he just used to always like jump on your Insta show and make comments.
Right.
And then now
Right,
he's like has his own Insta show, but he's not on it. He has some picture of the Earth, and God knows what they talk about.
Right. He's got his own Global Freeze universe. He's got his own cinematic universe. I did like when he was like saying, "I'm not going to pay to be on Twitch."
You don't have to be stupid.
Exactly. What? I'm going to pay on Twitch to yeah.
I'm paying $10,000 a week to run this operation the way it is now. I mean, come on.
So I want to go back to what we were saying, because you're in Quebec during the pandemic, so it's not even like you get to have like a whole new. It's almost like just you're traveling.
A little bit like that, yeah. I felt like that because, especially the first few months, because it was all new, and then in the summer it all opened up, so I got to go to the old city, and all the restaurants were open. So it was like since October it's been locked down, but for those first 6 months it was all kind of new. Now it's
That's awesome. Now it sort of sucks, and you got to come back here.
Yeah, it's sort of. It's more that it's just I don't know what I'm going to do in terms of work. And
Hey Bob,
That's
it's like a remake of The Godfather Part 3. You know the remake they just remade The Godfather Part 3, the director's cut with Francis Ford Coppola. But this time instead of Al Pacino, it's like, all right, we're gonna pull back Bob Bell back in.
That's it.
You've been trying to leave them. They keep sucking you back in there, Bob.
I thought. Well, I think that one of maybe the turning point was I went with Cammie, a little girl I met up here with her brothers, and I was like skating. I was like really doing a good job, and I was like, wow, they were saying you're not bad for like somebody doesn't skate a lot and they're really good. And then like I just slipped and broke my arm. That was
What?
yeah. I was skating like because you don't believe how good these people are in terms of like they start skating at like 2 years old up here. So like you get like 3-year-olds on, they're just skating around like really fast. So I'm trying to keep up with them. I know how to skate a little. And I'm like going, and then the music's on. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I'm gonna next Yvonne Cornway. Look at it. And then like all I remember is like seeing it like going up and just cracked, and it was like, oh, a month of pain.
So that like they have their citizenship requirements, and like here you have to take a test. Well, there you have to do speed skating. You have to do like one period of hockey. Like that kind of thing. Like to get a citizenship.
Yeah, that they should actually. I mean, it's what they really do is just they have like a speed skating for French. That's really what they do up here.
Yes.
It's yeah. No, that was like I took a really now it's okay, but it was really bad.
So were you at a rink? Is that
Yeah,
where
I
you
was at a
were?
rink. I used to skate all the time, but I was skating really fast, and it was like I tried to stop, and like somehow I went like ow, I went like that, and then like that, and I all of a sudden I just got up in incredible pain, and then like a week later I got an X-ray and it was a slight fracture, and I had
Yeah, but that still hurts a lot.
oh, it hurt for like a month.
Yeah.
Still hurts a little bit, but I can like do this. I mean, I'm pretty much normal, but it was bad for a month, really bad. It's
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Tommy Dargan. Tommy Dargan looks like he's going to bed right now because it's late. So
Yeah,
Tommy
yeah.
Dargan says, "Bye. See you next."
I told somebody that I did it, and I told her, like one of the people I go to get food here, I said, I went skating and I broke my arm. No, I just said I broke my arm, and she said, "Oh, that's really sad. And how'd you do that?" I said, "I went skating." She went, "You deserved it." That was it's like it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be that old.
You had fun during a pandemic. You deserved it. You deserved it. You had fun during a pandemic.
You just what you deserved.
Yeah, well, it's like going out.
you
I was like,
see it.
how old are you? You shouldn't be skating. You should be sitting in and just like counting the rest of the years of their life when it's going to be over.
And actually,
Who you think you are? Young? Think you're
isolation.
young?
The isolation is actually bad for us, all of
No,
us,
it's
old
bad. It's
people
horrible.
especially. But like, it's just and you start to get depressed, and you start to not go out even more for some
Right.
weird reason.
Uh-huh.
You just go, well, there's nothing to do, and I don't know. But like, if you get in that thing, it's not good for anybody.
You got to get out.
Yeah.
I made
It's,
breakfast.
it sucks too though because I just turned 40 as well. I just turned that's a big number, like 39. I'm basically losing the prime years to this. This sucks. Like these are like my prime, like active, like all right, these are your prime years.
Right.
It's just like great. Yeah.
I
I
lost
think
my prime
everybody's
years.
starting to feel like that, though.
Big Mike, what happened?
I said I lost my prime years in my first marriage. Basically, I checked out of the real world for 20 years when I was married to my first wife. So
I remember those
How many
years, right?
wives have you? How many wives have you
4.
had, Big Mike?
4.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And
impressive.
yourself? Yeah. There you go.
I mean, I haven't had any wives, but I
You gotta try it. Yeah.
4. So, the fourth one, oh, there he goes.
Part of the show. It's a part of the show. Yeah, he comes, he goes. Part of the show.
Do you think so? How do we know if people are watching us on Twitter? I definitely have it on. Also, Todd, on Twitter Live, there was like a thing, and I don't know how to get back to it, but there was a lot of people on it. It looked like almost like a Zoom with like 40 people, but it was Twitter Live.
Yeah, I mean, it like basically, if anyone's commenting, it should show up on this like master chat, this like meta chat that we have in our room, and then we could engage. So
No,
a
I
lot
know,
of people are watching from Twitch. Yeah,
but I'm on Twitter. I
And
just want to know what it looks like from the Twitter, or they just get the link. Is that what it is?
right. Yeah, and the full link, and then like the play, the video will play. like nonstop play. And I think supposedly right now it looks like 44 people are watching and like 7
Wow.
people are hurting and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, people make
Yeah, I mean-
comments. We want to hear from you. Don't we want to hear from people? I thought only like 2 people were watching because that's only.
How many people are, Todd, how many people are listening in tonight?
I think it looks like. Well, let's not forget, guys. We're also on. We also have like an Instagram live correspondent, so that counts as well. So hundreds of people now.
Oh, amazing.
Looks like probably 4. Like it says around 44ish or so. So
That's as good as I've ever had at like any nightclub I've performed at. That's at least as many as I usually get at night anyway. So
right. By the way, before we go though, I know like so has anyone here used Clubhouse? Clubhouse is like a talking app, but it's only Apple users.
No.
It's only Apple.
Yeah.
No, Stacey, have you used Clubhouse?
Clubhouse? No.
Okay, I'm just wondering because that's like the big app where people like get to talk and engage. Like, it's an audio app, but it's like it's like what we're doing, except it's like But it seems like a lot of like douchebag influencers are into it. It's just like, hey,
but
let's
also
talk
a lot of rappers. So it's like going to a cocktail party, and there'll be one really
Right.
interesting person there. Like Jack Nicholson will be at it. Like this cocktail party, but instead of Jack Nicholson, it's Kanye West will be there, or Q-Tip,
Right.
Audio.
or
Yeah.
Trey Songz will be there. Like there'll be some rapper
Right,
there.
right.
Everybody will like it'll be kind of like he'll hold court, as it were, and there's a Q&A kind of. It's not really set up as a Q&A, but like you can talk to a
Oh, no,
celebrity
that's fun.
if you're there.
Influencers.
I love that Todd is so
Yeah.
like hip that he's like into stuff that kids are into. I mean,
know.
you can pay me enough to get on the Clubhouse. Although I like that I like to know about it and that it's a thing and look at it a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because everything's like digital now, so it's basically a cocktail party, like you said. By the way, Sadat's back in our show. So what was the we left, but what happened, Sadat? Like what was it looks like Global Freeze is becoming a little bit more heady. He's becoming more into himself. He's become like Oprah, What happened there? Was he because give us the 411
He was talking
Instagram
bullshit.
live correspondent.
He was talking bullshit politics. I think he tried to write.
Politics, yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
It's weird that,
Was he
the
like
moon-
defending Geitz?
There's like a
Yeah, of
moon,
course.
like that's his thing. Same old, he says.
Yeah. I wonder what he's talking about in politics now. Is he like defending Geitz? Like 17's legal in New York.
Well, that was what they got Gates on, is that the legal age of intercourse is different depending which state. So he crossed a line from, I think it was, let's say, North Carolina, it's 18, but he flew it to like Florida where it's 17. But that is committing the crime. Understand that by
I think
definition
Florida-
is the crime
yes.
you've committed. You've brought somebody there for the purpose of sex in a place where the date of statutory rape has been lowered. Like in Kentucky, it's 13, but in like Connecticut, it's 25. Kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
so, but by definition, that's what he's done. It's like they used to call it the Mann Act, MANN,
Right.
bringing a woman across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. But they broadened it to like basically sex trafficking, because like I said, the states have all these different regulations. Like in New York, it's 17, but I think in New Jersey it's only 16. So like, but if you bring
No
somebody
way.
over to New Jersey for sex and she's 16, you've committed a crime by doing that. Even though it was
Right.
legal to do it in New Jersey at age 16, the act of bringing her from a 17-year-old jurisdiction to a 16-year-old jurisdiction is a priority by the face of it all. Basically, is the crime itself. Trying to make the sex legal is the crime.
Yeah, right.
By the way, is it kind of wild that like Florida is like I think 18 and New York is like 17? That Florida is kind of basically like progressive, or
When
in that
did
case,
New York make it 17? Or what? I don't know the history about that.
Big Mike, the expert in the Mann Act. Can you elucidate?
What was that?
I said,
Oh.
yeah. You're making a point. You were saying. And by the way, yeah, I looked it up. 16 is the age of consent in New Jersey. So
Right. It's
No
right.
way.
17 in New York. It's a different age. But if you brought somebody across the George Washington Bridge and fucked them in New Jersey, that's the crime you've committed. You're actually a sex trafficker by definition.
I know, but the question is like, so do you know the history of like New York and the age? It must have been higher here.
No, New York's 17 and like Florida's
It was
18.
21. You had to be 21. Anything under 21 was statutory rape. Up until like I think the 1960s. And other places performed
really?
it.
Wow.
Now, this whole
weird.
thing's got updated.
Did they-
Apparently, there's like $25 million involved, a hostage. This whole like Gates thing is just, taking on like a life of its own. Lots of other like sordid details.
Hey, to quote Global Freeze, I'm not gonna pay to watch you on Twitch. What are you talking about?
I used to feel mad about that. Say that says talking about the kids at the border and the Fuhrer Trump.
The flip side is-
I'm sure he's all over that. I'm sure he's all over that.
Having worked in OBGYN, basically, at least in New York State, a woman, a girl of any age, can get birth control and actually have an abortion. You don't need parental consent. So the point is, we were treating women for gynecology problems as young as 12 or 13, and we were prohibited from telling their parents, which I think is a good thing ultimately. That they wouldn't have been treated at all for their problems if they had to go through their parents. That kind of thing.
Right, but what state in New York?
In New York City anyway, that we were treating women with for gynecology issues, and
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that you have to be accompanied by a parent. That's
no, not in New York City. I'm serious. You don't have to be because it's because again, parents are going to influence kind of thing their treatment. So the point is, they're allowed to seek their own treatment.
I
know,
love that,
so it is like a really interesting topic because, like, back in the day, you were so shamed if you were pregnant that people would just give birth and then put the baby on the black market. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah,
Not-
right.
That's why that is now they can be treated like if it's a termination of pregnancy or whatever it is, or whatever they need, like treatment for a STD. Like I said, they don't have to go to their parents because their parents, who the hell knows how that they wound up in this situation in the first place. It has some sort of like their parents had some sort of influence in that. Like that kind of they didn't get birth control for their kids. They didn't teach their kids about prevention of sexually transmitted diseases. Like the parents are the problems. What I'm saying.
yeah,
That's how the parents are the problem here. It's not like
somehow we're talking about vaginas. We were talking about naked people and you being naked, and now we're back to vaginas and uterus.
It's Big Mike pivots from burlesque to Planned Parenthood. Oh,
Yeah, right.
The weirdest podcast ever.
Welcome to Schizophrenia Live here with Todd Massey and all the voices in his head.
Now, Mike, have you heard of the three kids who were like the triplets this might be early 60s. They were, adopted but they were all split up, almost like some Nazi type stuff. Like they wanted to see if they would develop in a certain way. And at the same time, these, it was all like, they felt unethical. But they did it anyway.
The story was these twins thought they had been reunited until somebody saw the picture of the paper and realized he was their triplet. Understand it? It was a big story.
Right. That's it. Yeah.
Oh.
That was a really
Speaking of triplets, it's like
again.
it looks like Big Mike got kicked.
Yeah.
Forces
that B. Yeah, that's it. That's it. The deep state again. Once again.
Yeah. Soros.
They're after
Soros.
Big Mike and his naked
Yeah.
burlesque act.
Yeah,
Talking politics and Planned Parenthood. That would be the worst burlesque act ever.
Yeah.
He's dancing and he's like talking about about your rights.
I can see him do that. He's
your
probably
own
done
body.
that.
Oh my God.
That's
By the way,
actually
By the way, Stacy commented saying, like, is it okay if I could go 11:15? I'm so bushed. I'm bushed too, so we're gonna wrap up. We've got 5 more minutes to go. So
oh god, we're having so much fun. Always gets better at the end because you never
It's
know
like-
what Mike's gonna do.
Maybe because
There he
Mike
is.
keeps getting booted off.
I think they're throwing me off
Big
every
Mike.
5 minutes.
Wait,
this
Big
time.
Mike.
They're throwing-
I want to be your manager now because I've decided that your act should be
Oh, listen to this, Mike.
yeah.
it's you doing your burlesque act, but you're talking about Planned Parenthood and in your own right,
I did that
your own body.
time I showed. It was for a talent. It was like a talent portion of the. You remember the Mr. Lower East Side competition, Bob?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, my talent is I showed breast self-examination for men, and I had this whole like flash card. It was like a TED, TED kind of thing. I had like
TED Talk?
TED talk, like
A TED Talk for burlesque?
no, but I was it was a burlesque guy, but along the way I had things like look for nipple discharge. I had like you get those vampire things at Halloween that squirt blood, so I was squirting blood out of my nipples.
Oh,
It sounds like burlesque.
Oh.
Yeah, but I was also doing like was on the level how to do a breast exam, but I was doing like squirting milk out of my nipples, like like that kind of thing. It was like
That part doesn't sound like a TED Talk.
but that was
Yeah.
the burlesque side. That was the humor side. Burlesque comes from the Italian word burlare, which means to chuckle or laugh.
Yeah.
For laughs,
By the way, I love
for laughs, but it was serious. It was a serious lecture, but I was using burlesque technique in order
Nice.
to
Yeah.
win over my audience, to keep the audience engaged.
By the way, I love how Big Mike uses in his burlesque character as he's mansplaining. That's his burlesque character. Which is like,
You were
The last
mansplaining.
time we had a Mr. Lower East Side competition was in April 2019. Last year they didn't have it, and in 2019 I won
Right.
best male tits.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. Well, congratulations, Big Mike. You've the last winner of Best Male Tits.
Right,
Mr.
right.
Side contest.
Like the last winner of the Lower East Side best male tits competition was Big Mike. You remember Chuck Funk? I don't know if you guys remember Chuck Funk.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I remember.
He used to win it all the time, and I defeated him.
Oh, so you had some
Yeah,
stiff
there you go.
competition.
There you go.
I was like, like I said, he was.
2019.
Oh my God! He was the old champ. I'm the new champ. I was the new champ.
Big Mike, do you
There you
own
go.
Spanx?
What was that?
Do you own Spanx?
No, I don't. No. But I used to have something like that. It was called Just Butt Out. It was kind of like one of those like, those the one piece that like wrestlers wear. I don't mean
Yes.
professional college, and it had your ass stuck out of it in the back. And I was kind of it kind of like it made you look muscular, but with your ass sticking out. It was called
Like
Just Butt Out.
reverse chaps, kind of like chaps in a,
Yeah,
in like a unitard.
Right, exactly. With the ass
God,
hanging out
like-
the.
All right.
God is like, what is
God, you
Spanx?
brought it all back to the 70s, Mike. That's great.
There you
Right.
go.
All right, guys. I think I have enough time talking about Big Mike's body. I mean, sorry, Big Mike. I'm glad you're very comfortable with your body, but I think it's time to wrap up. Thanks again for watching, guys. Let's give a final any plugs. Stacey, you have any plugs?
I am going to be at Governor's in Levittown tomorrow night.
That's great.
Nice. First night comedy back. Cool.
And then I'm going to be at Todd Montessy's show as soon as it opens.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes. We'll figure that out. Big Mike, anything? Any plugs?
Doing a film on the 8th of April with Simone, and I'm going to be like being filmed as like a photographer. I'm supposed to be photographing her in a studio, in a photographic studio, and I'm going to be filming like the photographer. She's like the model, but it's the premise of the film is that somebody's filming me photographing her, kind of thing. It's like
So more naked stories to come. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
I like I said, I keep like COVID or no COVID-19 lockdown. I'm still trying to figure out ways to do this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Babe, Bob Bell. Anything, Bob Bell? I know you're in.
I'll probably be doing my one-man show in the at the U.S. Canadian border facility in a few weeks. We'll see if I get through. But
Bob Bell in
Amazing.
cages. Free Bob Bell in cages. Right.
Oh my God, you guys.
so,
You're gonna have Global Freeze like doing his podcast about freeing Bob Bell because Bob Bell's in a Bob Bell cage.
But Global Freeze will open for you.
oh yeah, I know. I couldn't think of somebody better. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. All right.
Great to see you
we'll be
guys.
back next week, guys, to figure it out. Yeah, and thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna end it. And keep being strong. Love you. Hug it. Peace.